Yeah, hello, and yeah, welcome to another day. It's still quite early for me anyway, but that's fine. So I just thought I'd make a very short video, okay, and then just pick up from where I left off the last one, okay. I believe that one of the last things I said was about Levi paying tithes to Melchizedek through Abraham. So I just thought I'd explain that better, okay, for those of us who do not yet have a proper understanding. Okay, so without much ado, let's just get into it so we can get done at on time. Okay, so I quoted from Hebrews chapter 7, right? Okay, so I'll just read it again and then we just focus on the tithe issue again, okay? So it says here, I'll start from verse 1. For this Melchizedek, king of Salem, priest of the Most High God, who met Abraham returning from the defeat of the kings and blessed him. It says to whom Abraham gave the tithe, right? It says first, well, it says first because there's a second meaning also. It says first, the name means king of righteousness, okay, or ruler of righteousness. It says, and then also, that's the second meaning now, king of Salem, which it's a title. The name Melchizedek is actually a title. It says king of Salem, which is king of peace. So Melchizedek is the ruler of a city called Salem in heaven. That's what it is, okay? And heaven is not just like I've said several times, heaven is not just one location, no. It's a galaxy on its own. The earth is everything the human eye can see, up unto the stars that we can observe. Anything the human eye, these eyes of flesh can observe, is part of the earth, okay? And then that which we cannot observe, okay, that is part of heaven. So Melchizedek is king of a city called Salem in heaven, not on earth. Okay, so verse 3 says, without father or mother, without genealogy, that's without descent, okay? It says, without beginning of days, no end of life, and like the Son of God remains a priest forever. So I've said this several times, and I can't stop saying it because it is the truth, okay? So when it says without beginning of days, no end of life, Melchizedek is a God, okay? And that's the only person in the whole books that's revealed to us as being without beginning of days, no end of life. Okay, so let's just go on. This is where I'm heading to. It says, just think about how great Melchizedek is. It says, even the patriarch, Abraham, gave him a tenth of the plunder, gave him the tithe, okay? Like I said in one of our videos, the order of Melchizedek, I said this was a covenant that was entered between Melchizedek and Abraham, okay? And it was a one-time covenant. The tithe which Abraham gave to Melchizedek was one time, okay? It's not like the order of Aaron, okay, where they have to keep bringing tithes, every month and all of that. No, but let's read again. It says, just think about how great Melchizedek is. It says, even the patriarch Abraham gave him a tenth. Okay. It says, now the law. This is Hebrews chapter 7, verse 5. Now the law requires the descendants of Levi, which I like to pronounce as Levi. Okay. It says, now the law requires the descendants of Levi who become priests to collect the tenth from the people. And that's the law of Moses. Okay. Not these pastors all over the world who are taking tithes from people and telling them all sorts of stories, okay? Forget about that. That is far from the truth. It says the law of Moses requires the descendants of Levi who become priests to collect a tenth from the people. It says that is their brothers. So, of all the 12 tribes of Israel, the tribe of Levi was designated by Yahweh to receive tithes, okay, from every other tribe, right? And then these are descendants of Aaron because Aaron was the first to be ordained as a priest, okay, in the Levitical priesthood in service to Yahweh. And this was a copy of the reality in heaven. Yahweh tried to instill, or he tried to put on earth here a copy of the reality that is in heaven, okay? So it says the law requires the descendants of Levi who become priests to collect a tenth from the people. That is their brothers. It says even though their brothers are descended from Abraham, even though they are all descendants of Abraham. It says this one, however, Melchizedek, did not trace his descent from Levi. It's not a human. It's a God who manifested in human form and met with Abraham and blessed Abraham. And that's the first time we see anyone blessing the Most High also. After blessing Abraham, he blessed the name of the Most High. And then he entered the covenant of tithe with Abraham, which was a foreshadowing, okay, that someone through the lineage of Abraham, a son of man, would ascend to heaven and would become a priest in his order. That was the reason of that covenant. And that's the reason. In fact, that was the gateway that paved the way for our salvation. That's the truth. So it says this one, however, sorry, this one, however, did not trace his descent from Levi. It says, yet he collected a tenth from Abraham. Yet he collected a tithe from Abraham, and he blessed him who had the promises. He blessed Abraham who had the promises. It says, and without doubt, the lesser person is blessed by the greater. Right? It says the lesser is blessed by the greater. It says here, men that die receive tithes, but there in heaven, Melchizedek receives the tithe. Then let's see now, this is verse 9. It says, if I may so say, that's in the King James. Here it says, one might even say that Levi, who collects the tenth, that is the Levitical priesthood who collect the tenth. It says, even them they paid the tithe through Abraham to Melchizedek. It says, because when Melchizedek met Abraham, Levi was still in the body of his ancestor. What does this mean? What's the implication of this word? According to the law of Moses, right, the people were required to bring the tithes to the priests that were descendants of Aaron from the tribe of Levi, right? Now, it says, even these priests, according to the law of Moses, even the priests, according to that law, they also paid tithes to Abraham, to Melchizedek through Abraham, who is their great-grandfather. Now, this is a generational thing, okay? I want you to understand that. So, Abraham meets Melchizedek. Abraham doesn't have any child. He has not had Isaac, okay? Abraham pays the tithe. He enters a covenant with a spirit, with a God, okay? Now, all his descendants in his loins, as Abraham is entering that covenant, he is taking his old descendants with him into that covenant. That's what it means. So 400 years later or 450 years later, the descendants of Abraham now, they come out of Egypt and they go to Sinai, right? And then Yahweh initiates the order of Aaron on earth, okay? And then tells the people, okay, this tribe, you shall be priests unto me, okay? And then you have to take the tenth from your brothers, okay, to bring into my storehouse and all of that. But all of them, not just Levi only, because they were Abraham's great-grandchildren were 12, right? Every single one of them, they all paid tithe through Abraham to Melchizedek. Now, my question is this. The church today, they tell you that there's no mention of tithe in the New Testament. That's not true. I just read it from you here, for you here. It's written in Hebrews chapter 7. But the problem has always been that they've never understood the person of Melchizedek. So it's been just it's just a hogwash out there. You understand? Everyone comes and does whatever they want to do. Everyone comes and preaches anything they want to preach, and they say, "Oh, that Jesus never mentioned tithe, so it's still relevant." It is not relevant anymore. That's the truth, because we all paid tithes in Abraham to Melchizedek. I know that most preachers may not like what I'm saying, and personally, I do not even care. That's the truth. But the fact is that the truth has to be made known. What God is doing, God is reforming his church. Jesus is reforming his church. I know I'm a disruptor, and that's one reason why I didn't want to do any of this. And the funny part, or not even the funny part, the worst part of all of this is that no one can argue with what I'm talking about. Why? Because it is plainly written in the books. They just didn't have the understanding. Why? Because these things are spiritually understood. And like I said before, I am not testifying about myself. Everything I'm talking about is Jesus. I'm talking about being high priest, okay, in heaven, being our high priest in heaven, after the order of Melchizedek, who is also a God, okay? So the reason I made this video now is just because I know I cut it short, the last one, I did not explain this properly. Okay, that's the reason why I decided to put this video out there. Let no one deceive you. And then, one ridiculous thing that I've heard several times, and I keep hearing, I've heard several preachers talk so much rubbish. I'm sorry I have to use that word, but that's what it is. I've heard a preacher talk about the order of Noah, or the order. I don't know where they get all this rubbish from. It's not in the book. It's not scriptural. You have to stick. That's why Paul says in 1 Corinthians chapter 4, he says, do not go beyond what is written. That is a clear example. of what Paul is talking about. I mean, how can you come and talk about an order of Noah or an order of, just different people, an order of Abraham? Is there any such a thing? There's no such thing. The order of Melchizedek is the only order in heaven. If there were another order, Jesus would have become a priest after that order. Or even Jesus is not a priest after the order of Jesus. No, he's a priest after Melchizedek, after the rank, file, and command of Melchizedek. God is not the author of confusion. No, he's a God of order. You understand? He's a God of, he's not the God of chaos. He's a God of order. So when it's written, it is clear and it is plain. I just thought I'd make this video, very short one, and put it out there. When you hear such things, where someone comes and says the order of Abraham or the order of Noah and all of this rubbish talk, just keep it in mind. Ask them to show you where it is written in the Bible. That's just what you need to do, nothing more. And if anyone comes to you to start telling you about paying tithes, refer them to what I just read to you now in Hebrews chapter 7. Read it from verse 1 to 11. Explain it to them, because I know that, yes, like I said, we are disruptive. That's the truth. What these things that we are talking about is only going to disrupt the status quo. By the time it gets spread more, by the time it spreads more, and it has no choice anyway. What does it say in Psalm 68? It says the Lord gave the word, and great was the company of them that published it, right? And like I did say when I first started making this video, I said, yeah, it's gonna go far and wide, because it is the truth. You understand? So what I want you guys to do, share this video, okay? Let's reach as many people as possible. I know that we are disruptors. That's the truth. We are all disruptors, because the message that we are putting out there, not only is it the truth, they can neither gainsay nor resist it. That's the truth, because what we are talking about, we are showing it to them from there. We are only adjusting their perspective a bit. You understand? Just fine-tuning their understanding a bit so that they can see better and see clearly and have a better understanding and a proper understanding of the books. Okay, so anyway, I just thought I'd put this out there just to help us understand how it was, or how it is that we shouldn't be paying tithes anymore. Because we all paid tithes in Abraham to Melchizedek. That's the truth. Why? We are children by faith. We've been grafted into the promise. You understand? By faith. That's what Paul says to the Galatians, and that's the truth. Because it says Abraham believed and it was credited to him as righteousness. Now, and that Paul quotes that first from David. David says, I believe and therefore I speak. Paul says, with that same spirit of faith, we also believe and therefore speak. You understand? So when it says Abraham believed and it was credited to him for righteousness, it is the same thing that's happening today. We believe. And that is the credit for us, to us, okay, as righteousness. Why? Because we believe in the finished work of Christ. We believe that he's ascended to heaven. We believe that he is the God. He has become a God. The Son of Man became a God in the resurrection. And that's exactly what we all will also become when we are raised up from the dead. Okay? So I just thought I'd make this short video and just put it out there just to clarify, just in case anyone did not really understand what I said, or did not get it, or did not properly understand it. That's the reason why I made this video. So please share, hit like, subscribe, share. Let's reach more people. Okay? The truth cannot be argued against. That's the truth. Jesus says, when they bring you, do not think of what to say. It says, for in that moment, it is not you who will be speaking, but the Spirit of your Father speaking through you. The words that we speak, they are not ours. They are the words of the ghost that is with us. That's the truth, okay? So I'll leave you guys with this, and you take care, and I'll come back again soon, okay? So God bless you. See ya, and ciao. Bye-bye. Yeah.